Welcome,
Okay.
everyone. And I'm really thrilled today that we get to bring to you from Ghana, Heather Beem. Heather is the CEO founder of Practical Education Network. So, hi, Heather.
Hi, Lisa.
We are going to have just a little conversation here today. We have some questions about what you are doing. And my very first one is, what motivated you to even start Practical Education Network, or PEN as you call it, right?
That's right. Yes, that's right. Yeah, so a little bit about me. I grew up in Oklahoma. I studied mechanical engineering, and I was fortunate to get into MIT for graduate school, where I continued to study mechanical engineering. And while I was in graduate school, I was doing my research, doing lots of engineering work, but I found myself starting to become curious about what it was that made MIT feel like such a special place. Because what I felt was that myself and my colleagues, we all, after a while of being at MIT, had this kind of confidence that we could solve problems, that like nothing was impossible to solve as long as we could design and prototype and build things. And I realized that that confidence seemed to come a lot from the hands-on components of our education. Because at MIT, they really celebrate hands-on experiential learning. It means that everywhere you look, people are building things left and right. And so it gave this confidence that things can be solved, problems can be addressed in the world. And so I started to become curious, what would it take to help students in other parts of the world get to access that kind of education? And can we even make hands-on education available to students in parts of the world where it seems like it would be really hard to do that? Like in West Africa, can you still make experiential education available to students, even if they're going to school in a classroom that hardly has enough desks or textbooks? Can you still have that experiential education, which leads to the problem solving that, especially a country like Ghana, where I live now, desperately needs the youth to be equipped with to help contribute to its development?
That is so amazing. I love that curiosity that you came into this with, because that's exactly what changes the world when we have curiosity, right? So
Yeah,
so
it's
now
true.
tell me a little bit about PEN. What the heck are you actually doing?
Sure. At Penn, our mission is to enable every African child to learn by doing. We want to see that the new normal on the African continent is students, when they go to school, they're doing projects, they're doing experiments, they're using their hands to learn, because that is what's going to really unlock the critical thinking, the problem solving that is needed for development. And so we believe that if this is happening at a large scale, we'll start to see development happening on the continent from within instead of waiting for foreign aid and so on and so forth before issues around water and sanitation and energy can be addressed. The youth here have potential, but as it stands now, when you show up in a classroom, teachers feel like we don't have resources to unlock that potential in our students. And so what we're trying to do at Penn is to change that, to make the new normal one where practical education is dominating. And we're doing that through teacher training. So we've found that kind of the best way we can make education scale is if we can equip the teacher, him or herself, with the skills and the knowledge to transform what happens in the classroom. Because one teacher here easily reaches 100 students a year. And we even do a train the trainer model. So each teacher who comes to our program trains 10 teachers, in total reaching 1,000 students at a time. So the essence of what we do is a teacher training program. We bring teachers together in person, online, and they learn to leverage locally available materials, things that are available in their environment, like water bottles, straws, balloons, even local flowers and local foods. We take teachers through how they can repurpose those seemingly mundane everyday items into really experiential activities, for science and math. And we still find ways to make sure that this is aligned to the national curriculum. So whatever teachers are already going to teach, our training helps them learn to teach those topics in a much more hands-on way.
Why is all of this important to Ghana? And also just kind of like what kinds of outcomes are you starting to see now?
Yeah, this is foundational for a country like Ghana and Liberia, where we've also started working really across the continent. So I see what we're doing, STEM education, science and math, hands-on learning, as really building the foundation for students to build up the critical thinking and problem-solving skills that they need to contribute to seeing the continent develop. I don't think the continent can really develop sustainably if that kind of foundation isn't there, actually. One of the exciting stories we've gotten to hear about recently is there's one particular school in Kasua, which is a low-income community on the outskirts of Accra. It's one of these parts of Accra that's just, booming in population. A lot of people are swarming in from the rural communities as they try to seek a better life in the city. And so it's on the outskirts, a lot of populated, low-income area. So there's a school there that reached out to us in 2018 saying that they wanted to prioritize science. They wanted to make science better in their school. So we worked with them for about a year. We did our teacher training program. We also helped them repurpose this room they had into like a science room where they had local materials all available for the students to engage in. And they got back to us that ever since 2021, so about 3 years after our training program, they have seen a dramatic increase in their exam scores. So prior to our intervention, their school was kind of like an average performing school, kind of like the equivalent of a C average of students across the board. Then in 2021, 100% of their students got the top score in science, like the equivalent of an A or A plus for us. 100% of them. So 3 years in, after their teachers had like really imbibed this training and had been consistently teaching them for the 3 years that they were in junior high school, they had 100% success in getting A's. And ever since then, it's continued all A's or like maybe a couple of B's. And so I think that's really a testament to the power of hands-on learning. It's of course exciting, it's engaging when students are doing stuff, they're building stuff, but it actually really helps them learn the subject, which is what we need to happen. We need students to actually learn science and math in order to help build the country.
Do you happen to have any kinds of success stories or anything you'd want to share about how it's impacting especially girls in the area?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we did a small research study to try and understand the impact of our program on students. Because we work directly with the teachers, people always ask, okay, at the end of the day, how does this impact students? So we had about 6 schools going through our training program. Half of them got the teacher training and half of them didn't. So it was kind of an experiment and control. And we looked at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, how did the students across all the 6 schools change in their test scores and their attitudes towards science. And there was a marked increase if you compare the experimental schools and the control schools. So compared to the quote unquote business as usual, all the students whose teachers were getting the training, doing hands-on activities, had a significant increase in their exam scores and their interest in science, like almost 100% or even more, greater increase than their counterparts. Okay, let's see what's the difference between the girls and the guys, how they responded. What we saw was that the girls' increase was even more pronounced than the guys' experience from the training.
Right now, what do you think that your biggest challenge is in keeping efforts going with PEN, and how can this audience that you're talking to help you out?
So at this juncture, we're eagerly seeking partners that can work with us to expand. Now that we've kind of solidified, our internal operations, we're really eager to expand and scale to new geographies and new regions. And there's a few ways that we do invite people to join us. As individuals, you can sign up to be what we call a pen pal. So you can become one of our monthly donors. For as little as $20 a month, that's actually enough to support one student to be impacted through our training program. And of course, we also invite organizations that want to come on board to support more teachers and students to be impacted. We've actually partnered with the Zonta Club of Accra to take one cohort of teachers here in Accra through our training program, and we're just wrapping that up. And it sounds like they're eager to do more on that front.
So, is there anything else that you would like for people to understand about the work of PEN?
You can follow Penn on social media. Otherwise, look forward to exploring further partnership opportunities, like you said, with Zonta Club or others in Colorado.
Awesome. And Heather, we just want to thank you once again for being here and being a part of this celebration of women today. If you would like to help Heather and the Practical Education Network, you can go to this link to find out more and to donate. Thank you.